Yo, hello everybody and welcome back to my Let's Play series of Satisfactory. In the last episode we built up the space elevator, finished the first phase of the game and already played little bit around with coal generated power. And since I'm tired of chopping down trees, creating biomass and then biofuel and feeding these biomass burners manually, I want to set the focus today on setting up a coal-generated power plant, which will, satisfy the power demand for this file for quite some time. So, first things first. During my research and preparation for this episode, I found another hard drive site and already led this research in the MAM. So let's just see what this is. Okay, we have 2 copper recipes and fine concrete again. I don't really want to consider this. The steamed copper sheet takes 1 by 1, instead 2 ingots for 1 sheet, but we have to add water and we have to do it in the refinery anyways. And same goes for the ingots, so we don't have access to the refinery yet. So it really doesn't matter what we pick, but since the pure ingot recipes are really good at some point, because you want to get out the maximum of your available resources, and water is basically infinite other than the other nodes, for example copper node. I'm just gonna pick the pure copper ingot for now, but really I don't need any of these 3 at the moment. And I'm also a little bit relieved that it wasn't anything related to modular frame production, because I took the time to prepare a plan for a modular frame setup in order to produce them. And if there was an alternate recipe which would benefit this, all this time would have gone wasted because I had to consider the alternate recipe then. Basically alternate recipe is done already. I just put it on the to-do list so that I don't forget it. Then today is coal generators, as already mentioned, and if we have time left we want to set up a modular frame production, and also I want to take the time to see if we can address some milestones. We can do this one, but I want to be a little bit conservative with spending my rotors at the moment and modular frames. We don't have any access yet since we have to still set up the production. And I don't want to spend them yet. We don't have enough for the basic steel production either. And this would also basically I would get ahead of myself if I would address steel production now before I finish my to-do list. What you can think about though is doing improved melee combat, since we get another inventory slots then, and also an additional hand equipment slot, as well as a better weapon. Because not only was I looking around for a coal production site and finding another hard drive, but I was also battling some animals that I found on my way in order to gather their remains. I don't know if I will come back to this this episode, why this is important or why we need this stuff, but I would just wanted to show you that I tried to fight some of the hawks, especially since they are rather common in this desert, and I already found one of the bigger bosses here, or one of the bigger animals, and I just realized in hindsight that I barely survived the fight. So there's nothing to say against a better weapon in order to, let's say, harvest these animals. There's one again. And at the moment, before I forget to say it, the one coal generator that we put up temporarily last episode is actually enough to cover our complete consumption, because I cut out this production site until now, and the cable and the wire, I don't know if I showed this a minute ago, but the cable and the wire got backed up completely. I think almost also did the different iron basic items. What's still producing is the copper sheet, not for much longer though, because this is almost full though as well. And yeah, the concrete is producing as well, since we are using it quite frequently in order to set down the foundations. And what I also did in between episodes is slimming down the production of the reinforced iron plates, rotors and smart platings here. So I deleted most of the stuff and reorganized, looked around what the best setup is regarding the alternate recipes for the screws, the cast screws, and reorganized everything. And this is basically the result, the updated result, which in my opinion is much better. It's a little bit more compact, since I already explained that we can save on some constructors in the last episode, and we also save some space. I can basically cut down all these foundations now, and we do not produce any excess iron rods anymore, but instead I decided to simply let these, I jumped too far again, excuse me. I instead decided to let the constructors for the iron plates produce an excess, so they can simply run on 100%, and this is a very even number, or these are very even numbers here, because I can simply split this constructor in half, and 10 iron plates will be excess and fed into a storage container, and the other 30 are needed for the 5 reinforced iron plates, which was basically the same as before, but these were underclocked. And we have a higher demand for iron plates than we have for iron rods. I think the iron rods will be the first thing that will get backed up at the bases. So later on I will cut down these foundations, but not in the video, since I don't want to waste any time. And I did some experimenting for the setup of the coal generators. And I was thinking about, how do I do this? Where is the best spot, since we do not only need the coal, but also have to get our hands on some water with the water extractors. And water is indeed very limited in the desert. We could fit some water extractors right there where we put down the first coal generator, but I'm on my way to another spot, which I now decided will be our coal generator site, and I will explain you in a minute why that is. So I don't know if I think we passed these 2 pure coal nodes already in the last episode, and I can already say that the coal generator site will be bigger than you might expect now. Okay, and here we are back in the desert. I decided to make a pretty big cut there, because a lot of things happened and I don't want to bother you with boring details. But let me just catch up. On my way here, I remembered that I did not put the iron side back to power for the reinforced iron plates and the rotors. So I went back there, added it to the power grid again, and then I realized, because most of the stuff is backed up and not producing anymore, if I just add a second generator to the temporary first one, this will provide enough automated power for all my production at the very moment. So I really quickly changed the output of the water extractor as well as the miner for the coal, and put down a second generator right next to the first one, fed everything in, and yeah, now our power output is completely automated for the moment, and the biomass burners went on idle, which is good because we can save some biofuel. Maybe we need it later, and yeah, that's basically what I did in the meantime. And on my way here I also got lost a little bit because I went to the wrong edge of the map. Since this map was not updated, I went to the wrong side. I came across here, but luckily this was fortunate for me, because right here is another crash site with an additional hard drive that I can use, and this does not require maintenance either, exactly as the first one that we found. Yeah, so if you want to start a fresh file in the desert, then keep in mind that you have basically 3 crash sites quite close to each other, and these 2 do not require any maintenance at all, and this one only consumes 70 megawatts temporarily, which you can then cut again right away. So yeah, if you're starting fresh in the desert, then you can pick up these 3 as early as possible, and maybe the alternate recipes will help you out in the early game. And I think it's quite useful. Yeah, but that's everything that happened in the meantime. And now I am, as you saw, at the very east edge of the map. Yeah, the map is cutting here because this is the end of the world, basically. And you already saw that here is an immense chunk of water available. Don't worry about this. I did some testing, some experimenting on how I want to lay things out. I will cut this again, delete everything, start from scratch, and show you the process completely. But yeah, this is just to give you an idea already what's gonna happen here. We will basically build down foundations, build away all the way down there, and set up our coal generators for future power. Because this is way more water than we need for the site, and in the desert itself water is quite limited, but here we have all the water we need in the world. So instead of pumping the water up, which requires additional power for the pumps, again we can simply bring down all the coal for free. Yeah, so that's why I decided to put it down there. And what's gonna happen is we will cut out the 2 normal nodes or the normal node currently using the temporary coal generators out of the equation completely. Instead use the pure nodes that I just passed, and 2 additional normal nodes right over here, this one and this one. There is in fact another impure node right here, which would make it able to use 390 coal in total, but these additional 30 mess up with my planning so much. I couldn't figure it out how to set up 26 generators in an efficient way, so I decided to leave this be for the moment and just consider 360 coal, which will provide 24 generators with enough resources, as well as adding, I think 10 was the number, water extractors to it. So yeah, we will have eventually 24 coal generators placed around here. And I was also considering overclocking these, but I don't have enough power slugs at the moment. And yeah, this is another topic that I got a little bit messed up in the last episode, because I was talking about overclocking and underclocking of machines and how this is not a linear formula but an exponential one. But for generators it is in fact linear. For example, if I have the coal generator set on 100% clock speed, the target megawatt will be 75. But if I halve the clock speed, also the target megawatt will be halved. So for coal generators it is linear, and for further generators as well. Yeah, this is just the difference between machines and generators. Sorry that I forgot this in the last episode, but now I remember to differentiate these two things. Yes, and that is basically everything that needs to be resumed. So now I will delete everything of this, start from scratch, and catch you up once I laid down the foundation. Alright, and there we have our foundation completely laid out for our coal generator site. Yeah, if you followed along the time lapse, then I think you already figured out a little bit what's the planned layout for all the coal generators. But first let me check if I have enough resources for everything. No, I'm missing reinforced iron plates, so I have to pick them up later for the remaining coal generators, but it's not that big of a deal because, yeah, they are getting produced in the background at the moment. And before I forget it, I think the hard drive that I picked up in the meantime is already long researched, so let's just take a quick look. Okay, we have pure iron ingots, nice, charcoal out of wood, and well, okay. The bolted iron plate. Will be still a long time until we get the Mark III logistics, but I think it will also be a long time until we get the refinery. So for now, let's pick the bolted iron plate, and maybe I can reconfigure our already existing production lines and use this alternate recipe for the reinforced iron plates instead, since the standard recipe produces 5, and if we underclock this with Mark II belts, we can, I think, maybe put out around, yeah, 7 per minute with one assembler. So maybe we can save an assembler or two with this. Let's pick it. Okay, that's done. Now, continuing with the coal site, coal generator. Okay, so the idea is, in case you're wondering why this is laid out the way it is, the idea behind this is that I want to have a symmetrical layout. Every incoming coal will be fed in from above here. I think maybe I will add a line for the conveyor belts. Yeah, laying out some more foundations here. And my idea is to put down 8 coal generators around here, leaving some gap after 4 of them, and then mirror the 4 generators on the other side, so we can have all input for 8 generators at the same time from this direction. And we also need 4 water extractors for 8 coal generators, which will be underclocked a little bit as well. And then we can feed in, I think 120, yes, 120 coal from the side with a perfectly used Mark II conveyor belt, as well as water from 4 water extractors. And then we have a logistics line in between these 8 coal generators. And then we will have a mirror of this on the other side. Same here. For water extractors, feeding in water together with coal. I think I will have to lead the conveyor belt around here. Then again, 8 coal generators around here. Yes, and then we have 16 already set up. Then I extended the foundation a little bit up to here, and this will look a little different since I will place 8 coal generators completely centered, I think, around here, maybe with a little gap as well to run in between. But yeah, then the remaining 8 coal generators will be set up here, facing with the input up this way. So yeah, the remaining coal necessary for these 8 generators will also come from somewhere around here, I think. And I will line out the last 4 water extractors here in order to feed the water in for the last 8 coal generators. Now that I'm laying out 8 generators here, it might even be possible to add the remaining 2 in order to get use of the additional impure node. You know what? Let me just lay down the 24 coal generators and the 10 water extractors, because I have to get some reinforced iron plates for that anyways. And then we take a look once we have 24 coal generators placed, and I will decide then whether or not to add another 2. See you in a minute. Alright, and that is 24 coal generators and 12 actually, not 10, water extractors placed. In my opinion, considering that we are this early in the game, this looks pretty amazing. I was not expecting it to look this good. I'm happy. And while setting these down, I also decided to add some foundations here as well. And I will in fact place down 2 additional coal generators. I actually only need 1 additional water extractor. Can this be... I intentionally left some space here in between to let it, yeah, in order to remain it symmetrically. But now, yeah, I think I will put down the remaining 2 coal generators, but maybe I have to find a better way in order to feed them with water extractor and remaining the symmetrical look of this place. Let's take a quick look again how the extension looks from a distance. Looking pretty good, since we also left enough space over there. I think I will add another foundation in this corner, and this should not clip or cut the water extractor that's placed there. Yeah, and that is basically also another example for why you always try to leave as much place or space as possible, since I try to leave enough room for walking and logistics and so on everywhere. And yeah, one simple improvement or one slight change, for example adding 2 other coal generators and 1 additional water extractor, already messes with the whole space. And we didn't even lay out the logistic yet, which I will do, I think, in between, because I will record it and then I will decide later on whether it will be a time-lapse or a whole cut. But I think also I will simply put these extractors a little bit further apart, put a 5th one here, and then maybe I will just feed these 2. I will consider how I will deal with cogenerator 25 and 26 later. For now I am simply planning for the 24, and because the impure node is right here anyways, we can always add or remove it again. Actually, now that I think of it, I want to plan this later, because now adding it is one story, but all the conveyor belts are already at maximum capacity at the moment with the Mark II, or are they? Yeah, it depends. I have to think about it. Maybe this will be 24, maybe this will be 26. If it's 24, there might be 2 coal generators added later, but let's just keep it as planned for the moment, and start laying out the logistics for 24 coal generators and 12 water extractors. Okay, so much for the logistics up to this point. To be honest, it took me quite some trial and error, although I was confident that I left enough space between the coal generators. You can never have enough space, another lesson learned again, or relearned. Yeah, because it looks quite messy and you can't really run in between as I originally thought, because here it really jams up. But yeah, basically what I've done is I connected a lift to each coal generator in order to lift up the conveyor belts, and then I fed the pipes underneath. Each pipeline can transport up to 300 cubed water per minute, and we need 180 per 4 constructors. So we can't connect these 8. These are 2 separate lines. And yeah, so 4 constructors, coal generators, excuse me, are connected to 2 water extractors. And then we will feed in 120 coal into here. And these are then connected to each other, because this will get split up into 60 each, and then each line of 4 constructors will receive, actually this, I explained 5 minutes ago that I will run consecutive lines up here, so I have to split this again, and in fact coal has to get in here as well, so I have to consider. Yeah, I have to fix this actually, because yeah, 120 coal has to go in here and 120 coal has to go in here. Glad that I explained again, because I had to explain it to myself again, because I already forgot what I had in mind. So yeah, I don't want to show all the pipe layout, because this is not finished yet, and the other 8 has to be taken care of as well. So yeah, I will cut this out, and then once the logistics is completely done, I will resume. Okay, sun is rising again as well. I worked all night on this plant. And yeah, let me give you the, for now, final tour of the logistics and power line setup. So basically, I still have to set up the miners and the conveyor belts, the conveyor bus, you can name it, for the coal. And all 3 lines with 120 coal each will lead into these lifts. I decided to lead the conveyor lifts above the water pipes, because it's easier that way, and I don't get any messed up with placing conveyor lifts right here, since the coal has to get elevated anyways around here. So the 3 lines are getting split up between the first 8 coals. I upgraded the conveyor belts here for the first 4 coal generators to Mark II, because yeah, in the time lapse I used Mark I, which is incorrect because it would back up. And the second line straightly goes into the next 8 coal generators, and the third one will lead to the remaining 8 up on this side. Every 4 coal generators are connected to a pair of water extractors, for example like this, and everything is connected to one power grid. You can see the maximum consumption of the water extractors is 240, because we placed down 12. The capacity is not visible yet, because the generators are not producing any power, and all of the water extractors are also underclocked to 75%, because each set of 4 coal generators only requires 180 water cubed per minute. Yes, and also each machine has its own power pole, so it gets a little bit more neat, clean. The center of this plant is still accessible, you can run around. The very left is fully free of logistics, and I decided to implement a little elevation of the pipes here. I was originally planning the same thing on the other side, but it got messed up with the conveyor belt logistics, and yeah, this way you can simply roam around this side freely. Same is for the center, and only on the right side it gets a little bit yeah, messy with the conveyor belts and the pipes. I'm thinking about lifting this pipe up as well. I could feed it out here, put another pole or pipeline support here, so in order to lift it, do the same around here, but I have to keep in mind that I don't get in the way of this splitter, and then could create another bridge right here, but for now let's leave it this way. And yeah, that's basically the full layout of a coal generator plant or coal generator site. Early game for 24 generators, with the option to expand to with another 2 with the impure node over there. And yeah, again, I already said it, but I'm still surprised how impressive it looks despite being in the very early game, in my opinion. And also, yeah, there's always room for expansion, since we have plenty of space left in this area. And yeah, once we set up the conveyor belts running, this place will basically provide us more than enough energy for the moment. The 24 coal generators will produce 1800 megawatts, which is a lot for the start. And we always have the backup for the biomass burners. I could tear them down, but I will leave them be, with some biofuel included, since they go idle when they are not necessary. And if we will tip over the limit of these coal generator output, then the biomass burners will get activated in order to cover the additional demand, as long as they can. Yes, so this is the setup. And all that's left is place down some miners on foundations and feed the coal all the way over here. And same goes for the pure lines. And once I am done with getting the coal over here, I will show how to jumpstart this stuff without any of the biomass burners at the bases, so I don't have to drag another power line here. And I will decide, yeah, I have to drag a power line here anyways, from here to the other side of the desert, because this power will be necessary at the other plants. But yeah, I can do that in between episodes, and we can simply use, just in case if you are setting this up yourself, take this as an inspiration or follow it one by one, it's up to you completely. And just in case if you don't have any power available at the moment, I will show you a way how to jumpstart from 0. So in order to get this up and running, yeah, without any existing power grid whatsoever. Because the only thing we need for that is a single biomass burner that you can always put down easily with 15 plates, 15 rods and 25 wire. Yeah, so let me cover the coal logistics and then we will be back in a minute. And welcome back. Now, you're watching me crafting some iron plates manually, reinforced iron plates, and this is because at the reinforced iron plate site, again together with the rotors, I put back on the assembler which assembles the smart plating, because my intention is, since we will have more than enough energy very soon, I want to implement the awesome sink and finally get some coupons in order to be able to do some cosmetics. But I underestimated the demand for this project of reinforced iron plates by a huge amount. So what I did was also setting up an assembly at the very basic iron factory site, which crafts screws and iron plates into reinforced iron plates with the alternate recipe that I just picked up. And yeah, every once in a while I'm feeding in some screws manually, because yeah, the Mark II belt cannot keep up with the input demand of 250 screws. But this really helped to, yeah, craft the necessary amount of reinforced iron plates in the meantime, and you will see where all the reinforced iron plates went really soon. Yeah, now we are tipping again over the 150 megawatts of the 2 coal generators active, but this is fine for me since the biomass burners are still, yeah, not full, but they have plenty of biofuel left, and this project has priority. So yeah, because the assembler reactivated this site basically completely, so we are far over the 150 megawatts, and I also picked up some more cable. Yeah. So in conclusion, I really underestimated the demand of reinforced iron plates, although the game ran in the background a little while because I was busy working. But we are almost finished with our coal generator project, and our journey will start here at the 2 pure iron nodes. Don't mind me. And I also hooked this place up already. And these miners extract 120 coal per minute each. They're not powered on yet, because we will do this at a later point of our kickstart. There's our second miner, and these get I'm guiding the coal right next to each other on this foundation line that I built. And let me use the momentum of the conveyor belts really quick in order to speed this up a little bit. This is basically just a long line of foundations and ramps. Since we have not anything out of the awesome shop yet, our possibilities of yeah, cosmetics and decorating is very limited, but once we unlock stuff out of the awesome shop, we can get more creative. And for now, this is just up and hanging over here. I was thinking about taking a detour around the crater, but yeah, I didn't want to bother because I simply want to put up the energy. And I already ran out of reinforced iron plates while getting all the conveyor belts up here. So what I did was I continued the conveyor belt with Mark I, because yeah, let me just demonstrate really quick. When you put down a conveyor belt between 2 poles, then you can simply select the upgraded belt if you want to upgrade it, hover over it. I think I did this in the last episode as well, and upgrade it all at once. So yeah, I prepared the conveyor belt with Mark I in between the production of additional reinforced iron plates, and then I simply ran along the conveyor belt choosing everything, and yeah, this took way less time in relation to dragging Mark II conveyor belts, excuse me, because I had to wait anyways for the reinforced iron plates, so why not use the time in order to get a little bit of preparation already. Now this is our third miner of the line, which is the normal node, and extracting 60. So here Mark I belt is sufficient, but it will eventually merge with our fourth miner, again 60, and then we have our third conveyor belt, which transports 120 coal, and then they, after meeting up, will reach this border here, and then we are finally back at our construction site. And then we have 3 very, very long lifts. This is the maximum range of a lift. And I did not upgrade these yet, but this is basically the same procedure as with the bells. You hover over them with the upgraded version, left click, and now they are up and running as Mark II. And I think this is everything. Yeah, this is already Mark II, same here. So we are almost done. All that is left now is to feed in the final turn of the bells into the already prepared lifts. I think these are Mark II as well. Yes, they are. 1, 2, and 3. And now everything should be connected. Let's double check again. Is this a Mark II? It is. So 120 go in here. These can be Mark I since each generator only requires 15 coal. Second one goes in here. I think everything here is Mark II now. And yes, since 60 of each line are already extracted here, conveyor belt can continue as a Mark I. And the last line goes all the way to the back. Still a Mark II, and feeds into the last 8 coal generators. And as soon as 1, 2, 3, 4 are getting fed with coal, we only need 60 to travel further. Alright, everything is in place. I cannot count how often this happened already. Not only here, which is much more easy to get out, because these water extractors have some ladders on the sides, but when I jump down here, yeah, I kind of struggled a lot to get out of the water again. I should build in some ramp maybe, where I can simply crawl out of the water again. And yeah, we will have to get some railings once we get our hands on these in the awesome shop, so to, yeah, prevent the risk of falling and to prevent accidents on the working site. Now, this power grid has a maximum consumption of 240 because up until now only the water extractors are hooked up. Yes, correct. I was thinking about whether or not this is right. And the power line ends here and everything here is hooked up, which should be 20 megawatts because we have 4 Mark I miners. It's actually 15. Yeah, I forgot the 4th one. Is this one hooked up yet? It isn't, but why is it 15 then? 15? Oh, I hooked up the wrong one. I set up a 5th Mark I miner on the impure node and colored it differently so that I always remember that there is an additional resource for coal, but this is not active. And I was trying to give it a rusty look so that it looks like out of date and yeah, not in usage, but this did not go very well. In fact, it looks much better than the other ones. And this is another topic that I will address very soon during this episode, during this series, Let's Play series, is customizing stuff like machines, conveyor belts. I think I will set another default color for conveyor belts and for pipes, so that it does not look default anymore, because every miner you set down has this yellow color, yellow and black color scheme. But yeah, I saw this for I don't know how many hours I played on my first file, and I want to do something different. And yeah, also vary in between different production sites. Now, I don't want to really bother with pulling out another pole or so, so I will do the lazy way and use all the poles that are already set up. I think this still looks clean enough. And let me think. Yeah, that's okay. Now all that's left is, let me actually cut the line here again. So we only have these two hooked up. And they take 10 megawatts. And you will see in a minute why, because we are about to jumpstart this whole stuff here. I have 19 biofuel left, so I hope this is enough. I'm actually not sure how much 2 of the underclocked constructors need, because I want to jumpstart these 4 coal generators. And this is why I chose to start with the closest coal Mark 1 miners, because they will transport the coal into this generator site the fastest. So I have to, let me think. Yeah, let me just cut all the other generators off these 4. So these are only the only ones at the power grid. No, I actually only have to cut the water extractors, because it doesn't matter if the coal generators are on the grid as well or not, but the water extractors that are not in use yet must not, because otherwise the fuse will trip. Give me 1 second. Yes, I had to think a little bit, but I actually cut 4 power lines now. I cut this one, I cut this one, and I completely cut off the 4 extractors on each side. So currently there's only this one water extractor connected to the grid with the coal generators. And now I will hook up the 2 Mark 1 miners as well. So in total there will be a maximum output or consumption of 30 megawatts be shown, which is the maximum amount of 1 biomass burner as well. But since the, yes, perfect, since the water extractor down there is underclocked, it will be less. But still, now we only need 1 biomass burner in order to jumpstart this whole thing. So, yes, we have maximum consumption of 30 megawatts. We have output capacity of 30 megawatts, and once I insert this solid biofuel, all the 2 miners as well as the water extractor should start. And this is actually good, because I want the water extractor to fill up the pipes a little bit already, so the generator has enough water once the coal arrives. And while, let me think, no, oh, this is actually exactly as intended. I was thinking about switching off some of the generators in order to fill up the first generator faster, but let me just put in the biofuel, and I hope it doesn't get burned too fast. Now we have a consumption of 23.7, so the water extractor takes 13.7, and this could actually be close. Because, yeah, I don't know if the biofuel will be enough until the coal reaches. Maybe I have to pick up some coal in order to feed it down manually, for the start at least. Let's pick up this, because this is farther away anyway. And I will let this one travel. Okay, now it's a little bit of running against the time. I could simply avoid this by picking up more biofuel, but why bother running back again? You cannot really imagine how many times I ran back and forth already. Which is, again, why I'm so glad to having the Blade Runners already. Okay, let's take a look. This one is producing and the pipes are filling, but they should take some time in order to fill up the coal generator. I will wait whether or not the biomass burner will run out of fuel. Because as soon as the coal reaches here, the coal generator that takes the coal first will take over anyways. But even if the power trips, I can feed in. This is actually hooked up the wrong way. God damn it. I thought this one would be the line at the very left. But this is no problem. I will simply disconnect this one here, which will save some power at the biomass burner. And I actually have to hook up another water extractor, which is this one. Now we are at 23.7 megawatts again. So yeah, even it's not going 100% according to plan, this should be no problem at all. But still, let me cut this pipe for the moment, because then this one will get filled up completely. And already will start producing energy. And after quite some hiccups, this will be running constantly. It should be already, because the extractor puts out double the amount of water than necessary. Yes, and there we have our first coal generator up and running, and as you can see, the production is 75 megawatts. It's already taken over the biomass burner, which went idle. Let's see. I will check in a minute how much biofuel is left, so that we can see how close this was. But yeah, the worst thing that could have happened is that I would have had to run back and pick up some more biofuel. Yeah, and this, because this one is the first in line, it also gets half of the 120 coal that's reaching here, so it will back up very, very soon. And now let's hook up the second water extractor. Clear the other two first. And this one can support filling up the pipes. Now I hook this up, and this one should run. I hope this doesn't run out anymore. Yeah, second one is coming to life. Third one is coming to life. Let's get some distance. See the smoke rising, although it's not 24 pipes running, but our coal generators running. Yeah, these will get turned off and on repeatedly at the start due to some hiccups, which happens all the time at while starting a manifold system, but it's just the way it is. Yes, and this is how you basically start a manifold system with a Kickstarter of a biomass burner. And now we have at least 75 megawatts and are topping at production of 300, which is more than enough to cover all the water extractors as well as the miners. And I just turned on the other two water extractors because I can, let me just hook them up already, because they can fill up the pipes as well as the generators itself, and then the manifold system will run more smoothly later on. Is this everything? Yes. The consumption is at 163. Now the only thing that could happen is, because of the stuttering of the output, that the output goes below the consumption for just a moment. So yeah, let's give this some time to normalize and stabilize while hooking up the miners, because the rest of the coal has to reach here eventually in order to get the whole system running. But this is all it takes. 7 biofuel, not even close. Maybe I let this here so this can cover the power grid in case there's more stuttering. Yeah, this was close actually. Okay. Let's hook up the last 2 miners like this. Just a double check. Max consumption 119.4. It should go up by 10 when I do this. 129.4. Perfect. Flawlessly executed and no errors whatsoever. Just kidding. I was really confident that the right line would be the one that reaches, that gets fed with coal first. This was not intentional, but doesn't really matter. Although this seemed close regarding my health bar, one mechanic in this game is you cannot die by taking damage, fall damage, when you are full health, because the game is intentionally letting you live by always remaining, or yeah, you always keep half square of this health bar when you are full. But if you have only the slightest amount of damage already and you fall down, then you could die. But yeah, I would not expect to take this much damage by this fall, but it went alright. It's fine. Yes, okay, now. Yeah, this has to fill up. I don't know, are these manifold already? Because 90, 180, yeah. Let me just put this up a little bit so the pipes can fill up completely. And same with here. So the stuttering will go away completely, and yeah, we don't have this issue anymore, but we have more stable lines because the provided water will be stable as well. But this is looking good already. Now, oh yeah, I didn't hook up the ones at the very back, which are also already getting coal. So let me do this really quick. Our maximum consumption is still covered by the 4 generators. Let me pull this up to full efficiency as well, so these pipes will fill up as well. And also let me double check if this elevation gets covered by the pipes, or if this will lead to any problems, because sometimes it does. A water extractor can elevate water up to 10 meters all along the pipeline. So this is a little bit of incline, so is this, so we have to add up this incline in total to the 10 meters, and if the incline exceeds 10 meters, then we have to put up an additional pump in order to support the water extractor. And these are not basically the 10 meters per water extractor get not added up, but yeah, they're still only able to push the water 10 meters upwards. But this is pumping all the way, looking good. Let's crank up this one as well, because these are 2 separate water pipelines or networks. And our power production is increasing. 450, so 6 are up and running. Yes, and we see 6 clouds of smoke in the sky as well. Nice. Okay, now what I will do is wait for the coal to arrive from the pure nodes, put everything up and running, and then we will sum up the episode with a quick overview, I think. I don't know if there's any time left for the modular frame productions, but yeah, I will check once everything here is up and running to 100%. And here we have our final result. We are looking at maximum capacity of 24 coal generators up and running. And I must say, it's looking great. I'm happy. Let's check the power grid really quick. I gave this some time to get rid of the stuttering, and now everything is running smoothly at a production of 1800 megawatts. And when I hook this up to the biomass burner plant at the basis, then we will have a capacity over 2000 megawatts even, which is, yeah, which will cover our needs for quite some time. And this is what we worked for all the time now. But yeah, I still had some minor issues in this power site. The 8 coal generators in the middle were not even hooked up yet, and there were also some pipe connections missing, but now I got rid of every single last mistake, and this is running at full capacity, and yeah, can remain untouched for quite some time, and we can focus on other things, such as finally progressing further down the milestones and putting up some other production sites. So yeah, this is where I will gonna end this episode as well, since we are now again far over the 1 hour mark. So the modular frames have to wait for another episode, but in the next one we will finally tackle this, and yeah, also finally address some of the remaining milestones in tier 3 and 4. So that's gonna be it from my side. Thank you very much again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, let me know what you think, give me any feedback, I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one.